All right, page 125. The manner of his death can be reconstructed from a variety of legends, folk customs, and other religious survivals. At midsummer, at the end of half a year reign, Hercules is made drunk with mead and led into the middle of a circle of 12 stones arranged around an oak, in front of which stands an altar stone. The oak has been lopped until it is T-shaped. He is bound to it with willow thongs in the fivefold bond which joins wrist, neck, and ankles together, beaten by his comrades till he faints, then flayed, blinded, castrated, impaled with a mistletoe stake, and finally hacked into joints on the altar stone. His blood is caught in a basin and used for sprinkling the whole tribe to make them vigorous and fruitful. The joints are roasted at twin fires of oak loppings kindled with sacred fire, preserved from a lightning-blasted oak, or made by twirling an alder or cornel wood fire drill in an oak log. The trunk is then uprooted and split into faggots, which are added to the flames. The 12 merry men rush in a wild figure of 8, dance around the fire, singing ecstatically and tearing at the flesh with their teeth. The bloody remains are burnt in the fire, all except the genitals and the head. These are put into an altar wood boat and floated down a river to an islet, though the head is sometimes cured with smoke and preserved for oracular use. His Tannis succeeds him and reigns for the remainder of the year, when he is sacrificially killed by a new Hercules. To this type of Hercules belong such diverse characters as Hercules of Oeta, Orion the hunter of Crete, Polyphemus the Cyclops, Samson the Danite, Cuculain of Myrthine, the Irish sun hero, Iaxion the Lapith, who is always depicted stretched in a fivefold bond around a sun wheel, Agag the Amalekite, Romulus of Rome, Zeus, Janus, Anchises the Dagda of Hermes. This Hercules is the leader of his people in war and hunting, and his 12 chieftains are pledged to respect his authority, but his name commemorates his subservience to the goddess, the Queen of the Woods, whose priestess is the tribal lawgiver and disposer of all the amenities of life. The health of the people is bound up with his, and he is burdened with numerous royal taboos. In the classical myth, which authorizes his sovereignty, he is a miraculous child born in a shower of gold, strangles a serpent in his cradle, which is also a boat, and is credited, like Zeus, with causing the spurt of milk that made the Milky Way. As a young man, he is the undefeated monster slayer of his age, kills and dismembers a monstrous boar, begets countless sons but no daughters. Title is still, in fact, matrilinearly conveyed, willingly undertakes the world burden of the giant Atlas, does wonderful feats with his oak club and his arrows, masters the wild horse Arion, and brings up the dog Cerberus from the underworld, is betrayed by his lovely bride, flays himself by tearing off his poisoned shirt, climbs in agony to the top of Mount Oeta, fells and splits an oak for his own peer, is consumed, flies up to heaven on the smoke of the peer in the form of an eagle, and is introduced by the goddess of wisdom into the company of the immortals. Well, all right. The divine names Brawn, Saturn, Cronus must also be referred to this primitive religious system. They are applied to the ghost of Hercules that floats off in the alderwood boat after his midsummer sacrifice. His Tannis, or other self, appears in Greek legend as Poeas, who lighted Hercules' peer and inherited his arrows, succeeds him for the second half of the year, having acquired royal virtue by marriage with the queen, the representative of the white goddess, and by eating some royal part of the dead man's body. Heart, shoulder, and thigh flesh. He is in turn succeeded by the New Year Hercules, a reincarnation of the murdered man, who beheads him and apparently eats his head. This alternate Eucharistic sacrifice made royalty continuous, each king being in turn the sun god beloved of the reigning moon goddess. But when these cannibalistic rites were abandoned and the system was gradually modified until a single king reigned for a term of years, Saturn Cronus Braun became a mere old year ghost, permanently overthrown by Jupiter Zeus Belin, though yearly conjured up for placation at the Saturnalia or Yule Feast. Here at last we can guess the political motive behind Amathon's betrayal of his cousin Bran's name at the Battle of the Trees for the benefit of his friend Gwydion. Did the Bronze Age Amathonians who worshipped the immortal belly in his Stonehenge temple find that they had less in common with their white goddess-worshipping overlords than with the invading Iron Age Belgic tribes whose god Odin Gwydion had emancipated himself from the tutelage of the white goddess Freya? Once the Bran priesthood was banished from Salisbury Plain and driven up north, they would be free to institute a permanent kingship over all southern Britain under the patronage of Belin, and this is exactly what they seem to have done after a amicable arrangement with the priesthood of Odin, to whom they gave the control of the national oracle as a reward for their help in the battle. The next type of Hercules is an agricultural as well as a pastoral king and specializes in the cultivation of barley, so that he is sometimes confused with Elysian Triptolemus, Syrian Tammuz, or Egyptian Meneros. Early portraits of him, with lion skin, club, and grain sprouting from his shoulders, have been found in Mesopotamian cities of the 3rd millennium BC. In the eastern Mediterranean, he reigns alternatively with his twin, as in the double kingdoms of Argos, Lacedaemon, Corinth, Alba Longa, and Rome. Co-kings of this type are Iphiclus, twin of Terenthian Hercules, Pollux, twin of Castor, Lynceus, twin of Idas, Callias, twin to Zetus, Remus, twin of Romulus, Demophoon, twin of Triptolemus, the Edomite Perez, twin of Zerah, Abel, twin of Cain, and many more. Hercules is now lover to 50 water priestesses of the mountain goddess, in whose honor he wears a lion skin. The twins' joint reign is fixed at 8 years, apparently because at every 100th lunar month occurs a rough approximation of lunar and solar times. Lulaw Gaifs, the lion with the steady hand, is true to type when in the romance of Math, the son of Mathone, he takes Gwydion as his twin to visit his mother Arenhod. For each year that the reign of this agricultural Hercules is prolonged, he offers a child victim in his stead, which explains the Greek legends of Hercules killing children by accident or in a fit of madness, and the destruction by fire after a temporary investiture as king of various unfortunate young princes, among them Gwen, nephew of Bran, Patheon, son of Helios, Icarus, son of Daedalus, who flew too near the sun, Demophoon, son of Celis of Eleusis, whom Demeter was trying to immortalize, and Dionysus, son of Cretan Zeus. It also explains the child sacrifices of Phoenicia, including those offered to Jehovah Melkarth in the valley of Hinnom, or Genna, the home of the undying serpent, where the sacrificial fire was never quenched. How long we go? I'll go one more. The custom of burning a child to death as an annual surrogate for the sacred king is well illustrated in the myth of Thetis, Peleus, and Achilles. Peleus was an Achaean fratricide in exile from Aegina and became king of Iolcus with a co-king, Acastus, in succession to the co-kings Peleus and Nellus. Thetis, a Thessalian sea goddess, is described by the mythographers either as a daughter of Chiron or Charon the centaur, or as one of the 50 Nereids from whom she was chosen to be a wife to Zeus. Zeus changed his mind because of an oracle and gave her in marriage to Peleus, to whom she bore 7 children, 6 of whom she burned to death. The 7th, Achilles, was rescued by Peleus in the nick of time, like the infant Asclepius. The first 6 had been given immortality by the burning process, which Achilles, the process had not yet been completed. His heel was still vulnerable. Thetis fled, and Peleus gave Achilles into the custody of Chiron, who tutored him. Later, Achilles ruled over the Myrmidons of Thyotis and brought a contingent of them to fight at Troy. When offered the choice of a brief but glorious life or a long and undistinguished one, he chose the brief one.